So, do you ever wonder why you dream big, you get inspired, and then the next morning it's like you just wake up and all of that is gone, and you're paralyzed with fear and self doubt, anxiety, and questioning everything? If you're stuck like this, the truth is that self doubt is devouring your potential as years slip away. And after 8 years of helping professionals get unstuck, I can tell you one thing. You're not broken. Your brain is simply stuck in a loop. And in this video, I'll show you the neuroscience of why that loop exists in a three-part system that breaks it and makes confidence automatic, even if you've been stuck for years. Now, this is not another video about excavating negative beliefs and traumas. This is a predictable neuroscience system you can use to get out of your head and into your power and feel results immediately on repeat. But before I show you the fix, you need to understand what's actually keeping you stuck. And here it is. So you know you're meant for more. You've decided to move forward, and yet the next day you wake up and you're overwhelmed with fear and doubt. Why? Well, it's because that conscious choice you made is basically like a tiny ant on the back of an elephant. And the elephant is your unconscious survival mind, and it rules your entire nervous system, and it has one job: to keep you safe. Now, if the elephant thinks that your next level is dangerous, being seen, charging more money, risking rejection, it doesn't matter how inspired the ant feels, the elephant is going to get scared and walk the other way, which means you're going to feel anxious, you'll procrastinate, and you stay stuck. Unless you have a system for making the elephant go where the ant wants to go. And that's exactly what I'll show you next. And it starts with a story. So this is Diego. He is a therapist, and he's brilliant at what he does, yet he was struggling to provide for his family because he was charging peanuts, 60 bucks an hour. And he wanted to move, like so many people, into working with high-ticket clients. Yet he had so many fears about money and his own self-worth that the mere thought of asking for more money made him sweat with anxiety and feel like a horrible person. So I taught him a tool that takes only 5 minutes. And once he could do this consistently, the self-doubt dissolved, and he closed his first high-ticket client in just 2 weeks. And now people routinely pay him thousands of dollars up front. Now, here's what I had him do. It's called the I Remember game. And what you do is you set a timer for 5 minutes, and you imagine that right now, this moment is 6 months in the future. And you simply talk out loud, preferably when no one's around, about all the things you remembered happened over the last 6 months after you did the scary thing or simply went on with your day. And the context is, I remember, I remember, I remember. And it goes like this. I remember I was afraid to charge higher prices, and then I did it, and I remember they actually say yes, and then I remember I felt amazing, and I remember it was the best, and I remember we booked that trip to go hiking in Switzerland. I remember having the time of my life. I remember feeling so grateful. Now, you might think this is silly, but something very powerful happens in your brain when you do this. When you talk in the past tense, your brain struggles to tell the difference between make-believe and reality. And when that happens, there is a visceral state change that occurs in your body. And the key to doing this is to just always start with, I remember, I remember, I remember, and go big. Talk about the big things. Do you remember making $1 million? Do you remember meeting the love of your life? Or do you remember finally having that breakthrough and what happened after that you remembered? And go on a rampage. No pauses allowed. Just keep your mouth moving, even if you're just saying stupid things like, I remember, then I put on my socks, and then I went to the car, I remember then, and then I remember that big thing happening. Just keep your mouth moving. Now, when you do this, your brain might struggle. It might fight you for the first 60 seconds. I can't do this. This is stupid. This makes no sense. But after about 60 seconds, you're going to start feeling amazing. You relax, you start smiling, you start to feel like the version of you that's already done it. And that's where the power comes in. Then when the timer goes off, you simply go about your day and you watch what happens. It's basically like the volume knob, and all your fear and doubt just goes all the way down. You're clearer, you're more confident, you start moving, and that scary decision that you've been putting off, well, it feels more like a theme park ride. Now, here's why this works. So imagine you have two doors. Behind door number one is your warm bed and your routine, your default life. And behind door number two is a dark staircase. You can't see where it goes. It might lead to someplace amazing. It might lead to humiliation, failure, and pain. Now, which door is the elephant going to choose? Well, door number one every time because it's safer. But if you remembered that last week you did go down door number two and you remembered it working out and you remembered your friends supporting you and you remembered money coming in and you remembered feeling connected, alive, and inspired, well, now the elephant thinks, oh, door number two is the happy door. And when your elephant is on board, you don't have to struggle to push it. It will pull you instead. Your brain will perceive reality differently, and that's when you win. So next, I'm going to show you how to put this on steroids to make this so powerful that you can actually create the dream life that you desire. When I first did this, I had stupid amounts of fear and doubt. And the teacher I learned it from, Kyle Cease, thank you, Kyle, dared me to try to do it every day for 30 days just to see what happens. And I did it, and it completely changed my life. I ended up doing it way longer, every day for almost 6 months, and I ended up doing things that scared the crap out of me previously, including that crazy dream I had of launching a sailing adventure in Greece for a month and a half. This changed my relationship to fear, and weirdly enough, most of the things I remembered happening actually happened. So here's what this means for you. You just have to be consistent. Now, the elephant is making the door number one, door number two decision every single day. And imagine it like this. Every day is a bucket. Most people, they wake up and without even realizing it, they fill the bucket with rocks. Old stories, worst case scenarios, all the ways it could go wrong, all the ways it did go wrong, and they put that behind door number two. Then they wonder why the elephant keeps choosing door number one over and over again. But when you do this practice and you do it day after day, you fill the bucket with treats for the elephant and you put it behind door number two. So soon enough, the elephant starts to think, well, gee, I love door number two. Let's do that again. And it starts helping you. Now, using this, I've seen people overcome massive money blocks and start charging what they're truly worth. I've seen people terrified to get on camera start speaking, but it only works if you fill the buckets and stay consistent. So next, I'm going to show you how to make this automatic and be consistent, even if you've never been good at discipline. So when I first learned this, it was amazing. But then after a few days, I forgot to do it and it stopped working. So then I found one simple thing that made it become a permanent habit. I simply made a tracking sheet like this one, and I made sure it was the first thing I saw every morning. And it's dead simple. It has a date and one column that says, I remember. And if I did it that day, I got a yes. And if I didn't, well, no. And that's it. And it started to feel like a game to simply keep the streak alive. And as the yeses stacked up, my elephant started to feel safer and safer, and the habit became automatic. And the lesson here is this. Your brain isn't inconsistent because you're broken. It's inconsistent because the elephant simply needs a clear path to walk on. Now, check boxes are a path. And when the path is visible, the elephant walks it. When it's not, the elephant gets confused and forgets. This is why most people fail. They try to keep their habits in their brain, and that's the worst part to keep habits, especially new ones. The best place is right in front of you where you can see it and measure it. So now that you've got that part down, next, I'm going to show you how to make this feel so good that it's actually addictive in a good way. So I noticed when I first did this, it was working, but sometimes it just didn't feel as good. So then I experimented with doing it while walking, and this was a complete game changer. I would basically go for these I remember walks outside every day, exercising at the same time, and I'd always come home feeling inspired, connected, and alive. And when it was raining outside, I tested with just pacing back and forth in my room for about 5 minutes, and this also works ridiculously well. But the key thing I realized here is this. Movement matters. How you hold your body matters. Fear and doubt is a pattern. We don't have fear and doubt. We have habits of fear and doubt. Now, think about it this way. If every day you wake up and you look at your phone and you think about your problems, well, your brain links these things together. Body like this, thoughts like this, feelings like this. And soon enough, you wake up and you feel anxious automatically because you've trained your body to do that. But when instead you start moving and you start conditioning your mind into awesomeness, well, your brain starts to link these things together as well. Move like this, project a safe, positive outcome that feels amazing, and this becomes automatic. And before you know it, you're just going about your day, moving around, and good stuff is just popping into your brain because you've trained yourself to connect physical movement to positive outcomes. So now the question becomes, how do you actually turn that make-believe reality into reality and not just a happy feeling? So that's part 2 of the system, which is coming up next. So imagine you're out in the sun and you want to start a fire. And if you just stand there sunbathing, well, you're going to feel good, but you're likely just going to end up looking like a lobster. And if you wait too long, well, now the sun gets dimmer and you can't use it either. But if you have a magnifying glass and you use it when the sun is the strongest and you channel that light into a single point, well, now you have your fire. Now, here's what this means to you. See, you can feel clear, you can feel certain, you can feel connected, but that's basically just like standing in the sun. Unless you focus that energy well, nothing happens, which just leads back to fear and doubt. Now, the best time to use this energy is right here, right after the I remember game. That's when the energy is the highest and your brain is the most connected to the new reality. So to make sure that happened, what I did is I added one more column to the system, and I call it the zone. And to me, that means at least 1 hour of undistracted focus on my most powerful work. No phone, no scrolling, no other tabs. And if I do that for at least an hour, I tick the box. So now the system has 2 steps: I remember and the zone. And the pattern here becomes wake up, remember a positive future and start moving, then remove all distractions and sit down and work towards that future which you just remembered and felt in your body. Now, this makes you extremely powerful because you get the power of the elephant on board, and then you immediately channel that power like a laser. So next, I'm going to show you the third part of this system, which makes the laser so strong that you'll create the most powerful work of your life. So using this, I crushed my mornings and I was moving forward, but what I found was that I was still filled with a lot of background negativity, and I wasn't creating what I knew I was truly capable of. So I ended up doing one thing, which resulted in me quadrupling my business and hitting 5-figure months within 60 days from the time I started doing it. Now, here's what I did and how we can copy it. See, what I did is I simply looked at my screen time one day and I was legitimately in shock. I was spending over 4 hours on my phone doing nothing but consuming content in the afternoons and evenings. And so looking at this, I started to think of it this way. Okay, so if inputs equal outputs, and if I want amazing results, then I need amazing inputs. Now, the I remember game takes care of that in the morning, but if the other half of the day I'm filling my mind with junk, this is like eating amazing food in the morning and then eating nothing but potato chips for the rest of the day and complaining why I don't feel good. It's kind of crazy. So then I asked one question that changed my life. What if I don't need some crazy breakthrough? What if all I have to do is simply remove everything that doesn't belong? And I did an experiment. I decided to commit to stopping all mindless consumption just to see what happens. And this was hard, but within 60 days, I started creating my best work ever. I signed on 7 new clients and I felt clearer and more connected to my mission and my purpose than ever. Plus, I slept better as well. Now, here's exactly what I did and how you can make it work for you. I turned it into a game. I simply added a checkbox for the elephant called Zero BS. It meant no mindless consumption, only watching things connected to the vision and the research. And the game here was the same. Just keep the streak going, no judgment. If I fail, no shame, no guilt. And it worked. Now, again, this was hard because quitting habits is hard. So I'm going to tell you the final thing in the center part of the system, which makes it easy for your elephant to do hard things. and makes you unstoppable. So imagine you're a surfer and you're just floating out in the water, totally relaxed. Now, this is your brain on default mode. There's nothing urgent. I don't need to do anything, la la la. Now, 20 feet away, all of a sudden, a shark fin pops up and starts swimming towards you. Now, if you see that, you're not going to need a morning routine. You're not going to need motivation. You're going to start swimming very quickly because you're a human and you want to live. And the lesson here is this. You don't have a discipline problem. You have an awareness problem. The elephant part of your brain, that survival brain, is wired to respond to consequences. It's why if someone has a deadline at work, typically they will procrastinate till the last minute because that's when you become aware of the stakes, losing their job, and they get to work. See, as soon as we become aware of consequences, we take action. And what this means is if you're doing something destructive, it just means that your elephant, it hasn't become fully aware that what you're doing, well, it kind of sucks. So here's how to make it work for you instead of against you. First, you just got to do what I did. Just use the I remember game in the opposite negative direction and future pace the negative outcome and see how you feel. I remember I didn't quit using my phone. I stayed addicted for 5 years and I got dumber and dumber. I got more depressed. I didn't make more friends. Life just went by and I wasted my life. And do that and watch what happens. It's guaranteed to get you going in the right direction. But this next thing is even more amazing. What I did is I made a column on the right side of a sheet I called outputs. And in there, I simply put, how did I feel that day? What happened? What got created? And I simply observed my life without shame and guilt. Now, this is the equivalent of the surfer looking for the shark fin. See, what happened is my elephant learned, oh, if I sleep for 3 days in a row and I focus, I feel amazing. Oh, if I stay up till 2 a.m. and I watch movies and go to parties and do stupid things, I feel terrible and I hate my life. Oh, this is when my life started to get on the rails and when things began to get really good. Now, here's why this works. The elephant isn't dumb. It's just really bad at being aware of cause and effect, especially when time is involved. It's why people start good habits like going to the gym and they feel better. And then a couple weeks goes by and they stop. And then later they wonder, I don't feel so good now. What's happening? Should I go back to the gym? What's going on? And this goes on repeat in cycles over and over again. Now, the solution here isn't more discipline, it's more awareness. And that's the whole point of this entire system, not just to tick off boxes, it's to build awareness. When you build awareness, you become scary consistent, and that's when you win. To remember this whole system, just think, I remember the zone of no BS, and then track everything for the elephant for awareness. Now, if you like this and you want to use it, I put the link to download the tracking sheet and a flowchart, which you can put on your fridge right below this video. And now that you know this system, you can radically reduce fear and doubt. But unless you know how to align with your true value and turn that into soul-aligned money, life will be unfulfilling. So to learn how to do that, just watch this video right here. It will show you exactly how to do that.